Hey folks, this is the other Barack coming to you live and direct from an undisclosed location. We have a great video about Israel wiping out Hamas and radical Islam. Let's watch the whole thing and talk about it after.
Now, we're hearing understandable calls for Israel to finally wipe out Hamas, not just for the sake of the Israelis, but for the sake of the Palestinians. How does history suggest this might not be very easy?
Well, it's certainly not easy. That goes without saying, just in terms of the sheer tactical operational challenge of rooting Hamas out of Gaza when it has an entire network of tunnels. It's almost the hardest military undertaking that ground troops could be asked to perform. But there's a broader point that I think you're getting at, John, and that is that if you were able to get rid of Hamas, suppose you were able to get rid of every single trained terrorist, how long would it be before another organization came along? After all, Hamas is in a sense a successor to a previous version of the same concept, the Palestine Liberation Organization, a more radicalized, a more Islamist version. And presumably, if Hamas were eradicated, but the predicament of the Palestinian people remained broadly the same in Gaza, something as bad, if not worse, would come along. I think that's too negative, too pessimistic a view, because it seems to me to imply that the Palestinian people are incapable of doing anything other than support terrorist organizations. I think it's more accurate to say that the people in Gaza have been under the rule of a terrorist organization, Hamas, that many of them would dearly like to be rid of, that ordinary people in Palestine wanted better economic opportunities than they had, and they found Hamas has stood in their way. Hamas is a corrupt criminal racket. Like a lot of terrorist organizations, it is also a crime syndicate, because that's how it works. That's how the business of terrorism works.
Because it's expensive business.
Of course. You don't necessarily get given all these weapons for free. So what Hamas does is it takes the aid that naive Western governments pour in to the Palestinian people, steals it, sends it to the high-end residences that its leadership occupy in Qatar, and dispenses the money on the reign of terror that it maintains. So I think it's possible to get rid of a cancer like that from a society. You have, however, you must create better opportunities for the people in Gaza after this war is over. Because if you don't do that, if you don't solve that fundamental problem, then it's likely that something similar, if not worse, will come along.
The ending of the video is, I think, the biggest point, which is post-war, if nothing is done for the betterment of the people inside of the Gaza Strip, then it is a lose-lose across the board. It's a lose for Hamas and it's a lose for Israel. And one thing that I'll say now is I will hold Israel accountable for what they've been talking about for so long, which is that they are invested in the betterment for those people, which means because Israel is winning and will win this war, depending on what front you look at. If you want to look at the social media front, sure, Israel's not winning. But if you want to look at the on-the-ground reality, Israel's winning the war. The fact that there are no hostages does not mean that Israel's not interested in getting those hostages back. It means that you can't really negotiate with terrorists, which makes getting hostages back way harder. But the public and people from the outside looking in, who A, don't have any skin in the game, and B, don't try to compartmentalize everything that's happening in sync with one another, the fact that there's a war and also a country to be run and also other security threats and also threats from the north and from the east, the whole thing. But when Israel finishes this whole thing, and we're able to stop saying day 500, day 600, day 700, and we figure this out, what happens to the people inside of the Gaza Strip is absolutely part of the responsibility at the moment for Israel. When you win, you also take responsibility in what's going to be done. And I do not want that responsibility on Hamas. And I don't know anybody that would want that responsibility on them to begin with. And the only way that you can audit that is if you look at the life cycle and what the life is actually like for people in Gaza at the moment and what happened on October 7th. and what led to October 7th, you have to just look at the footage of the people who were living in the Gaza Strip for them to tell you what their life is like. And if you want them to return to that, yeah, cast your vote for Hamas. If you don't want them to return to that, you have to cast your vote for someone else that's invested in actually changing their life. Israel's invested in changing their life, and unfortunately, the only way for them to actually get and make adaptations to that change is to have a war that they didn't start. So let's just talk facts. I'm not here to talk about the politics. I'm not here to talk about your feelings. I'm here to talk about the facts. And the facts are that if you cast your vote and continue to shout for Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthi rebels to continue to do what they've been doing, you're going to continue to shout for the freedom of the Palestinian people. We have another opportunity here to create that freedom. There are countries that have begun recently to voice their opinions of potentially letting some of these Palestinians in. What a win. I don't understand why you could be against that if you're trying to free Palestine. Free them from the people who are occupying them. That does not mean Israel. Until you can understand that, we won't have an opportunity to actually have meaningful dialogue in this conversation. We're just going to continue to go back to back. We're going to continue to go point for point, like we're playing ping pong as if we're trying to get somewhere with this conversation. It's not going to work. It's not going to work when you have two different sets of history. Like, what, you know, there's been one history, but there's apparently many, many books that write apparently so many different narratives. And that's the situation that we're in. So I would love to see a world where Israel takes care of them right after the war. And then, boy, oh boy, can I not wait to hear all of the anti-Israel opinions come out. Because when you see Israel taking care of them, you're not going to like it. And you're going to find a way to tear them down once again. So thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you next time. If you want to continue the conversation, you can support my work for free. Discord does not cost a thing. It is the best way to connect with me and others who are seeking the truth. The link is in the description. But if you want to take it one step further, my Patreon gives you access to the Israel you don't see, uncovering the untold stories of what mainstream media does not show you. The link is in the description, and it helps me to continue this work. Or if you're just looking to help this thing go, PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee is a really easy way to support me. This channel, this work does not happen without all of you. Thank you. I love you. I'll see you next time.